Hey everyone, Adam here. So I woke up this morning with a bunch of messages all over the place telling me Darkest Dingeon 2 released its gameplay trailer. Which is kind of interesting because there's only like 4 to 5 days left before Darkest Dingeon 2 is out in early access on the Epic Game Store. And over the last week or so, we've been talking on stream about how odd it is that there's no gameplay trailer yet. So I'm really happy to see this. I was worried RedHook wasn't going to put out a gameplay trailer at all. I have not watched it yet, so this is going to be my first reaction to the trailer. I'm going to watch through it. I might pause here and there. I might watch it a couple different times. I'm also not streaming this. This is just a recording, so it's kind of odd for me to use or to do one of these react sort of things. But the plan is to look through the trailer. It's a minute and a half. I don't know what to expect. React to it live on this recording. Like I said, maybe pause, dissect things a little bit, perhaps even watch it a couple times and get my thoughts and maybe a bit of my hopes and worries for Darkest Dingeon 2 at the end of this. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get it brought up. I am missing. There we are. All right, let's check it out. Darkest Dingeon 2 early access trailer, which should, from the messages I received, contain actual Darkest Dingeon 2 gameplay. I know them.
Ruin has found you at last.
Ruin. Oh, was that the... Anyway.
Everywhere, in all directions, destruction has claimed dominion.
All right, right off the bat, the graphics are pretty awesome. I don't know about the combat graphics. We're going to check that in just a second, I'm assuming. But one of the big concerns of Darkest Dingeon 2 is that they went a different kind of direction with actual graphics. Same style, but anyway. I was worried about how the characters were portrayed. I'm liking this so far, though. It's already... you can probably tell I was already, like, uncontrollably smiling as I saw the... Anyway, let's keep going.
Emptiness and dissolution have wormed their way into the world. Onward once again, though all the world's horrors bar the way. When you are ready, this rutted roadway will finally take you home.
I am ready. So we didn't get to see a whole lot. I'm going to go back through and I'm going to pause here in some of those scenes and kind of dissect what I saw. But first impressions, seeing that so far actually has made me no longer worried about the art direction. So I don't mean, so like the style, the overall feel, the Lovecraftian, dark, whatever you want to call the first Darkest Dungeon, I think that remains intact, which is the biggest thing for me. Yeah, the characters look a little bit different. They no longer have their big bobble-headedness to them, but the particle effects and stuff like that, the what they're able to do with the 3D models is pretty incredible. I really actually like the combat scenes a whole lot. The one thing right off the bat that it worries me, or that worries me about it, is just the modding capability. Now, it's going to be on Epic Games for early access, so we probably won't get a good idea of how moddable the game is as much as we will when it hits Steam in a year, and if it has Steam Workshop support like the original Darkest Dungeon. I think, depending on... Man, it seems like it's going to make it very difficult to make modded characters. If they do allow modding, and RedHook has been very good about displaying the modding community and you know, putting a lot of their the better mods out there to everyone, letting them know about it. So RedHook has been you know, worked really close to the mod. In fact, some of the modders, if I remember right, worked on some parts of like Color Madness. They're in the credits for Color Madness, like Marvin Sayo. So anyway, it seems like it's going to be very difficult to make modded characters and enemies in that style with the 3D models and everything. Although there's a lot of talented people out there, I'm sure some can do it, but it won't be as easily accessible as it seems. We'll have to see, though, how that's going to be and how the rest of the game is going to be moddable. So, first impressions, though, I am super stoked to play this. I want to play the crap out of it. I really hope it's good. I am a big fan of the original Darkest Dungeon. However, having said that, before we go back through this, I've streamed Darkest Dungeon for 2,500 hours. I've done all kinds of challenges, speed runs, world record runs, tons of stuff. I put a lot of time into Darkest Dungeon and effort into Darkest Dungeon, and it's a big reason why my stream has been able to provide for my family. I've been successful with the stream, in part, grown it through Darkest Dungeon. So, having said that, obviously, I really hope the game is good. I hope every game is good, but I'm not like blinded. If there's something wrong with it, if it doesn't feel right, if it's not as good, if I just don't prefer it myself, I hope you guys do. But if I end up not, I will let you know. I'm not going to just be blinded and be like, oh yeah, RedHook can do no wrong. This is the greatest game ever. So I want to put that out there right away as we go back through, and I'm gonna dissect some of the stuff that I saw on the screen, and then I'm gonna tell you some of my concerns about the game. But first impression of that trailer, definitely a good one. So right off the bat, I'm trying to figure out if that's the caretaker. And now, RedHook has done a really good job in the first Darkest Dungeon of putting lots of their symbols throughout the game in very small, like hidden places almost, especially the affliction symbol, things like that. I do notice, I'm not sure if it's just wrinkles, but in his forehead, it does almost look like an eye there, which is an interesting thing. Again, it could just be digging too deep. There's not really anything to it, but
Ruin
I did notice that.
has found you at last.
Then it goes away. Okay, so this riding through here is pretty awesome. Let's dissect this though. So in the PC Gamer article that they did a couple months ago, they did mention that the gameplay loop is going to be much shorter than the original Darkest Dungeon. Darkest Dungeon could be 60 to 100 hours depending on what you're doing. Shorter, longer, depending on the player and what they're doing. They did say this would be a lot shorter, maybe like 6 hours, and it was going to have a progression through it more like Slay the Spire, where you're going and you choose which path you go through the road with the Stagecoach. And I'm thinking that's what we're seeing right here with the question mark and the hand. Like you choose left or right. 4-man team down there, as we see. It looks like a cultist. I see Disbus down there. And there's the new class as well. So Jester, Highwayman, and then the brand new class, which I'm excited about. Let's see what this says. 80 leagues to the inn. So it tells you how long until you get to the inn, which I think that's that scene we saw where they were all sitting around. Anyway, I'm really curious if this stops and lets you choose or if it's more active. So I noticed when I was first watching this that I didn't see it stop. So let's pay attention to that. See? So there's two things about this. Hang on. Okay. So one of two things here. One, either you have to choose this as you're going and you don't have a lot of time to think about it, which I kind of like. It's almost like a quick time event if that's the case. So we're headed this way and we get to choose one of them and we're going down. It's not stopping for anything. We are not stopping. It is dangerous to stop here. Or there was a screen before this where they got to choose and it's going down it the way that it has chosen. There are benefits to both of those. I kind of like in Darkest Dungeon how you do get to think things out. You have that time. You can plan, you can strategize, you can theory craft as you go in every aspect. Before each character turn, before each dungeon, before everything, you can plan and think through. So it would be surprising to me if this is more of an active thing, but it very well might be. Again, this is a whole new game, and we know they want to experiment, so it is interesting that we don't see a stop, and it goes, and it goes left. So anyway, let's go to the next part.
Everywhere.
Okay, just looking at the buildings. I don't know if this is actual, looks like armory or something. Maybe an inn. Anyway, I don't know if this is just scenery or something you can actually interact with. There we go. Academic study.
Directions.
No real information from that.
Destruction has claimed dominion. In all directions. directions.
This is the farmstead from Color Madness. Right there on the road is one of the interactable items from Color Madness. So the farmstead is actually pretty close to the hamlet. So this is probably pretty early on as we head out into the world. The world's looking pretty grim out there, I gotta say. Huh. There's also this meter up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They didn't mention this. I think this is you go through a section and then you have an end section boss until you get to the end. Again, very much like Slay the Spire kind of progression. And it looks like that's how you keep track of that. Huh. Down here, there is a seed. That's pretty interesting as well. Again, a lot of roguelike games, especially deck builders, like I keep referencing Slay the Spire, but it's, you know, it's one of the main ones that everyone knows. You can share seeds. That's pretty interesting. So being able to share seeds opens up a lot of things. Obviously, you can do the exact same run as someone else and have the same choices presented to you. The RNG of monsters and stuff will probably still be, you know, RNG individual basis, but as far as like which things you can choose on your route, which trinkets and stuff, if those are seeded, it opens up for being able to play the same seed as other people, competing with people on a seed, maybe having seeded speed runs, things like that. So it is interesting. I did not notice that when I first watched through this trailer just a moment ago. So there are seeds that you can choose. Very interesting.
Destruction has claimed dominion.
All right, just looking to see if we notice anything specific here. Now, I do notice the Stagecoach is hitting these things. I don't know if that's part of it. Like, it's yet to be really clear here. Are we controlling this part, or are we just sitting back and watching? Like, is this person leaning into those because they might have something in it? Maybe it has something, or good or bad, almost like curios from the base game. Because remember, according to the article, well, maybe not remember if you haven't read it, but I'll put the link to the article down below in the comments and in the description. But basically, it sounds like there's not going to be hallways anymore, right? There's not going to be like real dungeon crawling in the sense that Darkest Dungeon 1 had. So maybe these are almost equivalent as curios. It's really hard to tell, but the cart is definitely swerving into them, and I'm wondering if that's player controlled or not. Guilt, loathing, failure, regret, disgrace. The crossroads. All right. Let's take a look here. So we got the Plague Doctor. So right off the bat, I noticed that it almost looks like 5 skills are selected. So there's a couple of things here. Down at the bottom looks like our roster, all the characters that we've come to expect, the ones that we already know are going to be in the game. There's 4 slots down there, maybe the ones that we actually are taking with us or whatnot. I also noticed there's like a virtue affliction sort of thing here. These must be their traits, not really virtue affliction. I should have said positive and negative traits, quirks, whatever you want to call them. But that's very interesting. But I also noticed if you see the box highlighted here, there's actually 5 highlighted instead of 4, like in the original Darkest Dungeon. So perhaps you can take 5 moves per character instead of 4. The 4-on-4 with the rank you have to be in and rank that you can hit looks to be the same. You can rename characters. That's good. I was really wondering about that. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to, because you could in the first one. And this might be, I'm not sure. This could absolutely be just additional moves to choose from, or it could be something to do with a new camping or inn feature. But overall, I don't see anything here that's like, oh god, I wonder what that is. I wonder, it looks like the Plague Doctor, as you would expect, is still going to be sort of a poison, stun, and support-based character. I'm really interested in this trait system, though. Whoa, go back. Boy, that goes fast. All right. The Graverobber. So do we notice anything? Again, she has 5 selected. It looks like pretty much the same moves. Yeah, I mean, we have her buff. We have, you know, the dagger, the lunge, the pick, the thrown dagger, the AoE, the poison. So this one I'm a little curious about, though. The others are, I think I understand. Breacher and soft. We know soft. Breacher, huh? Calm and misses the mark. We know those as well. We do have Duelist Advance. Hopefully Riposte is still in the game. Riposte is OP. Point blank shot looks like it's still in there. Grape shot, marks, etc. Bleeds. What you would expect from the Highwayman. All right, the Man-at-Arms, Barristan, the original, the OG Man-at-Arms. And again, these look pretty much the same as always. Generous and Pacifist. Interesting. Yeah, nothing here stands out as like, oh god, I wonder what that is. These are all, like, maybe they're different and act different, and maybe their stats are different, but overall, I'm not seeing anything that's like, holy crap, what is that move? I don't know, go back. This is one of my favorites. It's so fast, there's like a frame. Sorry for the sound. All right, let's see here. Again, it looks pretty much... I wonder what this one is. That's interesting. So in the Hellion's lore, if you... yes, characters have lore. There are comics that are canon that RedHook has made for each character, and you learn how they kind of came to the hamlet and stuff. She actually is trying to redeem herself. She was a coward. She saved herself and let her people, her family die. But anyway, I'm really curious what this one is. But again, overall, pretty much the same. Squeamish and Slayer of Plague Eaters. Okay. Fight through Nightmare Hordes. The Leper only doing 8 damage. Come on. Alright, look at these characters. They look like something that would be in the final 4 Darkest Dungeons in the base game. Now, there is something that I was wondering a lot about in the PC Gamer article, and that was being able to see turn order. I mean, being able to see turn order does add more strategy to how you decide to do things, but it does usually make things easier. The game that showed that most to me in recent time is XCOM came out with a small XCOM game called XCOM Chimera Squad. And if you're familiar with XCOM 2, basically you get all your characters' turns and then all the enemy goes. And it keeps going back and forth like that. And that calls for a different kind of strategy. However, in Chimera Squad, you saw every single turn order. Every character that you had, an enemy character, and when they were going to go. And you could use that to your advantage. You could see, all right, that enemy is 100% going next. That's the one I need to kill first. I need to decide to kill that one. It will keep me the most safe. Or I need to stun that one. So it does open up more thought process. And as far as that goes, it diminishes some of the RNG for better or worse. So again, you can pinpoint what you need to kill more easily. You don't have to be like, oh my god, there's going to be an invisible D8 roll. I have no idea if I'm going to go before or after that character. Maybe the slowest one in the enemy team gets to go first this time because everyone else rolled a 1 that I didn't see and it rolled an 8. If you don't know, that is how speed works in Darkest Dungeon 1. So we won't have to worry about that. There is a turn order indicator. So he dealt 8 damage, and it was like half of this thing's health. Makes me think this is a pretty early battle. Hearthlight. So there's the new character using a new skill. Look at these, man. Every one of these enemies looks like it could be something out of like Crimson Court or the Final 4 Darkest Dungeons from the first game. These are crazy. Crazy. In the background...
Solution.
I don't know. There was a... Man, these things are on there for a frame. My apologies on the stopping and going on this and of the of the sound coming in and out, but I'm really trying to gather everything I can. Some of these are only up for a frame. Okay, we have a chicken icon there. Not sure what that's about. We have the stress meter. Looks like everyone's about to afflict. No virtues. Okay, 5 moves. There we go. I was right. The Plague Doctor has 5 moves on their skill, or in combat that they can use instead of the 4 from the first game. Looks like they can move forward and back, and they could also skip their turn. You know what? The bottom is a little bit bare for my liking. It's a little open down there. It almost reminds me of a mobile-ish game, but hopefully we'll have some enemy information stuff down there. But Lunging cuff. Look at Dismas in a prison uniform punching this guy.
Have wormed.
What is this? Dismas has his own or I should say the Highwayman has his own nightmare mechanic, maybe? So one of the things in the original Darkest Dungeon is they added a DLC, the Shieldbreaker, and she has a nightmare mechanic. And I always talked about, I was like, man, each character should have something like this. And maybe it only triggers once a playthrough, or every other playthrough or something, but something to give a little bit of lore, something to be more unique to the character. It looks like they've went that direction. That's pretty exciting. I hope all the characters have their own little thing like this. And with how this is, again, Slay the Spire, kind of shorter games, branching roads and choices, maybe you don't get this every time, even if you have Highwayman on your team. But I would love to see character individual things like this. And yeah, this is awesome to see.
Their way into the wood.
Echoing March, an offensive move. Interesting. New icons. Resentful. Up to your usual tricks. Again, in the PC Gamer article, it did mention characters getting bonds together, becoming friends, or becoming kind of rivals or enemies. Enemies may be too strong of a word. But sort of like the buddy system, again, from XCOM 2, and maybe a reverse buddy system, which is going to be interesting. Care for your companions. Okay. Health is about... Look at this scene. This is awesome. Okay. It's dragging an item to the man-at-arms. Okay, let's look at this. So maybe that's the new version of Holy Water. Either that or it's a holy hand grenade of Antioch, and Barristan's about to get destroyed like a bunny. Got 24 treasure, 1 something, 7 food. All right. Lots to dissect here. The Wainwrights. Wayne. Anyway, the Last Hope. You can even name your stagecoach. That's pretty cool. I like that. See, there's the items I can take. Looks like stagecoach upgrades. Look at that. There's like some kind of tower that you can put on it, maybe. I know these are going to be answered in a few days, but, you know, it's hard to wait even these few days. I really like speculating, and I'm still looking forward to this. Oh, go back! It said what it was, the crow's nest. God, they only leave that up for like a frame. Crow's nest, coach upgrade. 50% scout chance on all nodes. Scouting is very good in the original Darkest Dungeon. Hopefully it'll be super good in this game as well. Okay, select the route. So earlier I was mentioning, I wonder if you choose in real time or not. It looks like you probably choose ahead of time and then it's highlighted. So I'm good with that. It would be kind of cool if there ends up being a mod or a mode where you have to choose in real time, like a quick time event. It would add some real pressure, some feeling of, you know, I don't know what I should do. I don't know which way I should go, and just choosing at the last second would be kind of cool. The Forter. Corrupting. Complete this region without any upgrades mounted on the stagecoach. Reward +1. Grave Calling in the Tangle. Win a cultist battle. So again, not really hallway based and dungeon based. Like you just go do this battle and you're back on the stagecoach.
Onward once again. Though all the world's horrors bar the way.
How? Think that's gonna still give the worries? I'm really digging this art though, actually. Look at this guy. Baneful Breath. That is such a good particle effects. Man, I just think of the Fanatic doing this in the first game. If it looked like that, that's pretty awesome. Biting.
When you are ready,
I'm ready. When I am ready, I'm ready now. Why 4 days?
rutted roadway will finally take you home.
Oh, man. All right, well, that ran longer than I thought. I really wasn't planning on going and dissecting as much as I did. But, you know, hopefully enjoyed this. I enjoy doing it. Never really done one of these react sort of things, especially off the stream. So kind of interesting to do. Let me know how you feel about it, and maybe I'll do it on some other upcoming titles that I'm really psyched about. So having said that, the trailer gives me a lot of hope for the game, but I still do have those worries that I've talked about on stream a bit. And to go over those really quick, it can probably be a video of its own, and maybe I'll do that. Let me know very quickly in the comments below if you'd like a video maybe going over more of what my worries are about the game going in, even though they might be squashed in just 4 days anyway. But definitely let me know in the comments if you want me to make something like that over this weekend, and I'll let you know more detail on my thoughts. But just going over it really quick, here's my main big worries. One, there was something in the article that really bothered me that makes me think RedHook might be listening to the vocal minority of negative reviews more than they are all the positive reviews and praise for the game. And that is that they are removing accuracy, dodge, and that sort of thing. And you might be like, well, Adam, you're just upset with that because you love dodge. You like stack and dodge. That's true. However, that's not that being aside, what it's actually the impact of the game is, it's that in the article when they were interviewed, it said something along the lines of, players let us know that it felt bad when their attacks missed. Yes, all right, it's supposed to feel bad. You don't look at a game like Darkest Dingeon where, oh my god, just think of the story of Darkest Dingeon and what's happening, what has happened, your ancestor, what you're trying to accomplish, all the people that are dying, feeding into this monstrosity that's taken over the world. Missing an attack feels bad. It's okay. It's all right. Not everything has to feel good and happy and be in your favor, right? I'm okay. The reasoning of removing it is very odd to me, that it feels bad. So they're getting rid of accuracy and dodge, basically. And yes, there will still be dodge, but it'll be token based. It worries me that they are leaning that way. And again, not necessarily because of the mechanic itself, although I am kind of against that lowering the amount of mechanics are in the game. But because they listen to people and they're like, oh, people feel bad when attacks miss, so we're going to make it so attacks don't miss. Unless we tell you it'll miss. There'll be a token that'll tell you, and that way you won't use the attack if it's going to miss. That's the part that bothers me. So that bothers me. The other thing is reducing the length of the game. Darkest Dingeon could probably run you 60 to 100 hours in a really long all boss kind of playthrough, depending on your, choices and how much you think things through and how often you have deaths and whatnot. It can't be shorter, obviously, but in general, I think a lot of people's newer or first playthroughs when they first beat the game is probably 60 to 80 hours. And this one is more like 4 to 6 based on the PC Gamer article. 4 to 6 hours, which worries me a little bit. And I mean, it'll be nice that I can do like 1 or 2 full runs in a stream, but I feel like in the article they mention about they wanting you to think of the characters as being real and integral and friends and having these interpersonal conflict and relationships and really caring for your character. But I mean, if you're only going to be with a character for 4 to 6 hours, or maybe if something goes wrong in the first fight, you just start over anyway, or I mean, you can do that in the other one. But my point is, I feel like that's the opposite, right? Like, if you're playing through Darkest Dingeon, the first one, and you've had Dismas for 40 hours, he's level 6. He's got, he is decked out. He's been with you since the old road, and Dismas dies. That feels really bad, and it's okay that it feels bad. It should feel bad. It's what makes the game great, in my opinion, is that it doesn't handhold. It doesn't. And it's fine for games to do that, but as far as what Darkest Dingeon presents itself to be, I think that's perfect. That you should feel that anguish, you should feel that dread, and I feel like condensing the game like that is not going to get that effect of I really care about Dismas. Oh man, I'm an hour and a half in and Dismas is dead. I'm so upset. It's probably not going to feel as bad as my other example. So things like that I'm a little bit worried about. They got rid of the town management. Again, that's something that they were like, well, people have told us they don't really like the lull between dungeons. And people don't really like having to deal with a hamlet. I like having to deal with a hamlet. That's where you can kind of customize how your run goes a little bit. You can min-max in there. You can decide what you get, whether you get more characters, higher level characters, buying trinkets, upgrading your town, whatever. The stuff from the original Darkest Dingeon. That's another one that I worry because it seems like they listen to that minority of people that were like, I just want to get back in. I want to go straight back into a fight. All right. It's nice to have that decompression that all right, I've made it. I've made it back to the hamlets. The dungeon might be hellish. People might be dying. People are stressed. But you know what? I'm safe here. I'm at the hamlet. I can recuperate. I can think through what I need to do and work on going forward. I like that feeling in Darkest Dungeon 1. I don't feel like stopping at the inn along the way in your stagecoach is going to have that same feeling. I hope it does. I hope the game is successful. I hope it's amazing. I hope it's better than Darkest Dungeon 1. But if it's not, and I personally end up not liking as much or not liking some of the things as much, I will let you know. I am absolutely a fan of Darkest Dungeon and RedHook. Like I said, it's a major reason the stream has been a success, that I'm able to do this for a living. I've streamed it for 2,500 hours. I am a big fan, but I'm not a fanboy. If you want some honest opinion on the game, make sure you come back, check out my videos, watch the live stream. I will be streaming this on release every day, moving forward until I can't stream every day because my family will go crazy. Anyway, I'll stream it as much as I can starting on Tuesday morning when it first comes out. But yeah, if you're looking for some honest opinions on it, and to see someone working on min-maxing it, be sure to check out the stream. Be sure to check out the content here. If you end up having any questions about the game, or you want to see certain kinds of Darkest Dungeon 2 content, definitely let me know. I will say that I am super looking forward to the game. I am tentatively hopeful. This trailer has made me more hopeful than I was. It has subsided some of the worries that I've had, but those other big ones I just talked about, and some other minor ones that I'm not going to go over in this video, still have me concerned, and hopefully those concerns aren't merited. I do not think the game has to be just Darkest Dungeon again. It being a spin-off, it being way different is okay, but I just hope it's not too different. Hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out for this. This is a different kind of video from me than usual, so sorry for running a little bit long. As you can tell, I'm excited though. Again, let me know what you're thinking about Darkest Dungeon 2 down in the comments. I also put the link to the trailer if you haven't watched it on your own, and to the PC Gamer article if you haven't read that. But yeah, that is it from me. As always, thank you for watching.